seconds. Make sure you put it in the middle so I can collect it during your exit ticket. Three, two, and one. Equations. It's not, you've done everything you're going to be doing today already in previous lessons. It's just the fact that everything will look really, really weird. So if you're not paying attention, if you're not taking good notes, things will be difficult. Guess what? Every single time. I have 6 questions. Everything to do with complex equations. So the I can statement is I can solve complex equations. Say it with me. I can solve a complex fraction. I don't know why I put an S there. I'm gonna leave it up because I'm cool. Now, what is a complex fraction? It is a fraction that has more or a complex. Was I supposed to say function? Fraction. So complex fractions. I got it right. That has more than one fraction in it. So you see here, you got 3/5 and 2/3. This is what a complex fraction looks like. It's got more than one fraction in it. Does that look different? Does that look scary? No. Hopefully not. But if you are, don't worry. It's actually not that hard. The magic number for today is 1. Because you want to get that denominator just to 1. Or at least closest to 1 as possible. But in order to figure that out, in order to get rid of this denominator, we need to get it to 1. How in the world will we ever get a fraction to 1? An entire fraction turned into the number 1. How do you do that? Jaquel? Right, you multiply by its reciprocal. And I'm gonna give you an ALS point for even use the word reciprocal. Because that's a key word that you need to know. But isn't there also this rule? When you do something, do you have to do something to the numerator? Cherish? What do you do with the numerator? By what? Do you just multiply by something different or the same thing? Sorry, what? When you say just the reciprocal, that means, are you going to multiply? Three-fifths over 2/3 times 3/2. And like I was saying before, you're going to use the same reciprocal. You're going to multiply the top and bottom by the same reciprocal. That's whatever the denominator is. Now, how do you multiply when you have fractions? Because think of this as one whole fraction. Do you cross multiply, or do you just multiply straight across? Top by top, bottom by bottom, or do you cross? Which is it? Because we learned both ways. Lawrence? Cross. No. Well, in a way, actually, but no, not in this case. Sydney? Not top to bottom, because we're not going to take this times this. Cherish? Yeah, top to top, bottom by bottom. So you're going to be multiplying this way in order for you to get a brand new fraction over fraction, which will be what's 3 times 2?
6.
All right, so this is our brand new fraction. I know, right? Isn't that weird how this is like technically a whole fraction? But is there something, okay, so now let's just focus. Let's break it apart. We got 9/10. Is there any way you can reduce that? How can you, London? Can't divide it by 3, so 9/10 is by itself. Now let's take 6 over 6. Can you reduce 6 over 6? Taylor? What does it reduce to?
1.
All right. So you got 9/10, leave it alone, over 1. Isn't that the magic? What was that magical number I said it before in class? What's the magical number we're looking for? For the denominator. Uriah.
1.
Do you see a 1 right there?
Yeah.
Now, because I'm lazy, but if you write it like this for your answer, I'm not going to take points off because you got all the way. But if you're like me, the way you would write the answer for this is you just write 9/10. Bob, Billy Joe Bob, is 1. You got to always change that denominator to 1 because you just want to get one whole fraction on top. Make sense? All right? Now, I know that is easy when I say it, but I'm assuring you, when you get to your exit ticket, you're going to be like, Mr. Stewart, how do I do this? Okay? So there all is. That's a very complex way to say it because it looks tough, right? Because you got all these numbers. You got the fraction on top of a fraction. Cherish? So instead of doing that whole 3 over 2 thing, you can simply just say, because this line is the dividing, you can say 3/5 divided by 2/3. Copy this down with the words. Copy it down with the words. So instead of doing that whole thing we did before, instead, you can just put 3, you can just write it as actual division. And then all of you should know how you divide a fraction, what happens to the sign and what happens to the second number. Give you a hint, we did it in the last problem. What does division change to?
Multiplication.
And then what happens to the second number? Cherish? Nope, you're gonna. The second number you're gonna